Happy Easter, and I hope you had a wonderful long weekend. This is Mrs. Langmeyer, and this week's lesson is quick breads, and we're doing it Corona style lesson plans with the COVID-19 issue that we have. So I really miss my demonstration table, but I'm gonna bring it right from my kitchen. So today we're gonna be doing the quick breads, and what a quick bread is the leavening ingredients. The leavening means how does the item rise? What is the ingredient that makes that item rise? And for quick breads, we are going to be using the ingredients of baking powder, cream of tartar, or baking soda are the primary types of ingredients you might have at your kitchens. Eggs also help to leaven or rise things just a little bit. So those are some of the four main leavening ingredients. And so you will have at least one or two of them in your recipe. I've given you on Google Classroom also that you can pick it up at school is the recipe for some possible quick breads that you could make, and the assignment with the sheet that you fill out so that you understand how quick breads work. Now, there are lots of different kinds of quick breads. What I'm going to demonstrate today is how to make pumpkin bread, but a quick bread could also be cornbread, could be muffins, could be soda bread, biscuits, scones, waffles, pancakes, pumpkin bread, zucchini bread, banana bread are also some types of quick breads. It is not the Wonder Bread or the bread that you use in a sandwich. That is yeast breads. That will be another lesson. But right now, these are quick breads. So the quick breads do not use yeast. They will use baking soda, baking powder, cream of tartar, possibly eggs. And I will do a short little experiment that I will upload that shows you how quick breads react. It's a food science type of thing. So the big thing about making quick breads, whether you're going to, for this week's lab, make waffles or pancakes, or you want to make the biscuits that they might have at some of the restaurants that you've had, or you want to make cornbread to go with something that you might have, or you want to make some blueberry muffins, or you want to make zucchini bread, banana bread. There's lots of different things you could make. It's up to you. I've given you a couple recipes, but you don't have to use those recipes. If you have a family favorite or you want to look at one on the internet, that's totally fine with me. I do want you to show me a picture when it's done, and I will share a picture of my finished bread later also once it's baked. So the big thing with the banana bread that I'm going to be making, when you are doing quick breads, and the recipe that I've given you, or for any recipe, the thing that you have to watch out for is that you want to add liquid ingredients in one bowl or separately, and all your dry ingredients in a separate bowl. Because when the wet ingredients interact with the baking soda or baking powder that is dry, they will start a chemical reaction. Just like if you were to take bubble bath and pour it into a bathtub and then start running water, which is a liquid, it would start to produce bubbles. And those bubbles, if you were to have those bubbles creating and making a nice big bubble bath, and then there's a knock on the door and you shut the water off and you go visit with the person at the door, and then you go back to your bubble bath, you will have less bubbles. They will have burst. So hence, quick breads, you want to have everything measured, and that French word mise en place, which everything in its place, everything measured out. I've got that already done. I've already measured all my dry ingredients in one bowl. I have my liquid ingredients in another bowl, so it's all ready to go. And so I can do it quickly. When I add the liquid to the dry, the chemical reaction is going to start, and it's going to start to bubble up, and the bread will start to rise. If I dilly-dally around and I put it into my bread pans and then I go do something else and then come back, my bread will be a flatter loaf of bread. So once those two are combined, they start to react. You have to get them into the oven as fast as possible. Try not to create a lot of jumping around in your house that could burst those bubbles and make that bread flatter. Now, there are some baking powders that are called double acting. That will activate first when you add the liquid and the dry together. That will start that bubble reaction. And the second reaction will happen when heat is added. So when you put it in the oven, it gives you a little bit of a chance to have a little bit of goof proof. Okay, so you want to stir it quickly. You don't want to over stir it. This is not a cake where you want it smooth. You want everything moist and then stop. Okay, but it has to be all mixed together. Hence, quick bread. It's a quick mixed project. It may take a while to bake though. Biscuits will only take like 10 minutes, but this bread may take close to an hour because it's got so many ingredients and it will rise so much. So I have measured out all my dry ingredients in one bowl. So in this bowl, I will have the flour, my baking soda, my baking powder. I have lots of different seasonings like cloves, nutmeg, cinnamon, pumpkin pie spice. I've got lots of those kinds of flavorings to make that pumpkin bread richer. So this is only dry ingredients in a big bowl. The dry ingredients will want to go in your biggest bowl. And you may not be able to see this, but I've taken my bowl and I have burrowed down, okay, like a little dog would do. And I want to make it so that in the bottom of this bowl, you will see the bottom of the pan. You'll put all the dry ingredients up the side of the bowl so you can see the bottom of your bowl. If we had my demonstration table, you'd be looking and you could see that. So I wish I had my demonstration table. So what I'm seeing is the bottom of my bowl and all my dry ingredients are piled up to the side, okay? That way, when I put all my liquid ingredients, which is my pumpkin and is my sugars and my oil, and there's water, all the liquid ingredients, when I pour that in, it's quickly gonna go to the bottom of the bowl, so I'm not gonna have a bunch of dry ingredients stuck at the bottom of my bowl. So I'm gonna pour that in slowly, okay, and then I'm gonna stir. Now, as I'm doing this, chemical reaction is happening. You can't see it by your eyes, but it is starting to activate that baking soda, baking powder that is in there. The cream of tartar is a kitchen acid. That's an edible kitchen acid. That will also activate some chemical reactions. If you have something that has lemon or something that's acidic, if you have milk that has lactic acid in it, then you wouldn't need cream of tartar. You could just use baking soda. Baking soda needs an acid for it to activate. So if you have milk in it, it would have lactic acid, and that would activate the rising, okay? A little bit more to add, and I'm just quickly stirring. I'm not gonna make sure, I don't want it to be smooth, okay? I just need everything to be wet so I don't have a bunch of dry particles. Now in my recipe, I have used flour. It calls for quite a bit of flour, which is a carbohydrate. And I've used half of my flour is whole wheat flour. You can see as I'm stirring, got a little bit of white, so I've got stir just a little bit more. Whole wheat flour that I got from Mr. Ben and regular flour. I've also, for the sugar, I've used half regular sugar and the other half is Truvia, which is a lower calorie sugar replacement for somebody who might be sugar diabetic so that it's not so much carbs for them. And we've been studying a little bit about diabetes, so we want to reduce that carbohydrate. Bread, diabetics can have, but they don't want a lot of slices of it. Okay, so my item is now all moist. Stop the mixing, don't make it smooth, it's not a cake mix. Okay, then I'm going to add it to my bread pans. My bread pans have been buttered so that it doesn't stick. And I'm gonna only fill them about halfway full because they will rise. And if you overfill them, they will bake right over the top. If you find some dry ingredients as you're going, you need to make sure you mix that up. You don't want any on the side of your pan because then that will just burn on. So about halfway full. Make sure the sides are cleaned off. Again, make sure you've washed your hands. I've washed my hands about a zillion times. They're so dry. This coronavirus, if we've learned nothing else, that washing of your hands is so important. I'm going to then put it in the oven. Get another pan. My recipe makes 2 loaves at least. Okay, so I'm going to go get the second loaf ready. And this pan that I'm using is a silicone. So you may use glass, you may use metal, you may use silicone. There's lots of different products. The silicone it'll come out easier, and it won't take quite as long to bake because it doesn't have a very thick surface area. I wish you could smell it. If we were in school, we'd be smelling that pumpkin bread smell all through the halls. I miss you guys all very much. I hope you are out cooking. So this week's assignment is to make a quick bread, which could be pancakes, waffles, muffins, biscuits, and you'll need to watch the PowerPoint that I have loaded on Google Classroom, fill out the notes page, and make a quick bread, and get that back to me. And I would like for you to take a picture of it so I can see what you made. And I miss you, and have a good week. Look forward to see what you guys are making. Bye now.